it's something there that I've always wanted to have a crack at, was the Origin. Watched it as a young bloke all the way through, and then watched some good mates go in and coach. Thought it's something there that I'd love to be able to do.
Madge, compare the pressure of coaching in State of Origin compared to club coaching.
The difference, Matty, I'd probably say the Origin is on steroids. But the enormity of it in a short period of time creates how big it is. And obviously the spotlight, the scrutiny and the chatter around the game is what makes it pretty special too. So I've thoroughly enjoyed, obviously, the ride of being a part of the Origin. And, when you compare them from both, I think the longevity of what a NRL season brings, it presents a few different things compared to what it does in Origin, because it's such a short, compact time, but you can really feel it around the state, what it means. And I sort of probably compare this one a little bit with when you work at a club, you've got your maybe 500,000 to 1 million supporters, but when you've got a state, you've got every single where you go, everyone's talking about it. So that's the enjoyment part of what you feel from, I guess, the community and people when you're talking about Origin.
Mate, the benefit you've got, Madge, and I'll take a step backward there. One thing I've noticed in State of Origin, not right the way across the board, but I've seen it certainly in the last decade, is that most coaches who go in nice and relaxed. Year by year, you see them getting more edgy and intense. Usually year 3, it really kicks in. It's almost, there are exceptions. Mal, of course, was an exception. And Wayne's clever. Wayne goes in for a series, dips out and goes back in again. But for you, being a club coach, all the stuff you've been through puts you in good stead like that.
Yeah, well, I've probably seen most of it, Matty, from highs and lows and the pressures, but it's something there that I've always wanted to have a crack at, was the Origin. Watched it as a young bloke all the way through, and then watched some good mates go in and coach at times, and thought it's something there that I'd love to be able to do. And I think the fact that I've probably faced most things in the game now, I'm just getting a lot of enjoyment out of coaching the top end of the talent. And I had obviously the fortunate experiences of doing that with the Kiwis as well, where when you're coaching the best and you get the players, and all you are in my position here is actually coaching. It's one of the best jobs really, because you're not having to worry about all the peripheral stuff that's going on, other than the players just coming in and just focusing on being at their best, and that's been really enjoyable.
Well, I'll ask you that then, Madge, on coaching the very best players, because you're a very thorough, disciplined coach, very thorough, disciplined person. Is it a discipline itself not to overcoach at that level? Have you got to check yourself?
I think I've probably learned a fair bit as a younger coach, and then going through to where I am now. Definitely. You coach the talent that I have in the Origin differently than what you do at Clubland. I mean, you don't have the young 18-year-old. You've got the top of the tree. So you're utilising a lot of their knowledge and their expertise and their smarts. So sometimes you don't have to coach at all. You just got to make sure that you present them the arena to be able to go in and play. And, I really enjoy talking with, the top end, because you are talking about, the niche of how we're going to play the game, and they understand it very quickly and they can go and do it.
I thought Jake, in this second series, you've seen the build-up every time the camera was put in. He looked far more comfortable in his role as captain. What about you, Madge?
Yeah.
What did you learn personally as far as build-up, pressure, pre-game in game 1?
Yeah, I learned a lot. Obviously, the circumstance of that game definitely threw a curveball at me. I think I prepared for everything bar probably what happened. So it happened quickly. But I tell you what it did teach me was the fact that I had 12 players on the field. I learned a lot about the players themselves, that you do get stretched in a game like that. To be playing for 74 minutes with 12 players, you really get to find out about your players. And I was really proud of the players. Once we sort of regrouped, and myself included, we regrouped and got the team in the right headspace with about 10 minutes to go in that first half. All of a sudden you could start seeing the team come together, and the effort and what they showed and the fight was something there that I saw within the players. When you've got 12 players, you've got bigger spaces. They had to work a lot harder. And I obviously get all the data and the information, and our middles, you'd be blown away by the numbers that some of the players had in around their GPS data, being able to put the efforts in that they were doing throughout that game. So, pleased, but I learned a lot.
Well, that one of your strengths of coaching, Madge, is to recognise when things haven't worked and then adjust. Now, the best example I could give you is what you did last year with the Kiwis. First, You know, first up against the Aussies, the Pacific Championships, you just really struggled. Then by the final, you know, you gave him a bath.
Yeah.
You know, what is that, Madge? Is it you sitting just poring over the tape?
Oh, a little bit of that, Matty, but actually probably spending more time just with my players
Yeah.
to get to know the players. I can't wait to get back into the third campaign now because, you know, we're at a different level again. You know, from the first time when the players walked in, they're probably wondering who the hell Madge is and who the staff are. And then we rolled into our second campaign and they get an understanding and of how we want to do things. And now obviously we'll roll into our third one where you know, we're at a high level again. And you know, no doubt opposition are going to be doing the same, but we're pretty focused very much on ourselves on how we want to do things. And you know, I saw parts throughout our first half where we want to hang on to, and there's parts there we want to improve on too.
Now, by accident or design, Madge, if we just talk about the selections, you and Billy have almost yinged and yanged as far as selections from game one to game two. Game one, our team was very much grit, grind, outlast. Billy went for pick a team that's going to score points. What's funny is in game two, Billy brought in players like Capewell and Kafusi, players who were gritty, would grind, who would outlast. You picked a side more about points. Now, is that, yeah, did you recognise that, or has it just been just the way it happened?
Yeah, look, I think my team in the second one was still about what we spoke about, but I guess it's also too who's available. And, you know, I started with a squad of 35 when I first got the players in January and spoke about the fact that we're building a squad here. And at some stage, someone's going to get an opportunity and someone, you know, may have to sit out and, you know, come game two, the players that I selected, what I believe were the best ones for that to get the job done. And, you know, we were able to bring in some pretty handy ones in Cam Murray. Obviously, Latrell came in, Mitchell Moses.
And some pretty decent players
there. And then, you know, even Connor Watson, like he came in and, you know, everyone had a sort of their thoughts around that versatile player, but he's a player that can play anywhere. And so being able to get your bench a certain way was something that I had to look at as well.
Right, talking about Penrith, I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm almost certain I know the reply, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You've got a bloke who's on the cusp of returning in Nathan Cleary, who is the best playmaker in the game, arguably the best player in the game. If he was to come back and be 10 out of 10, is there any place for him in the squad? I know it's a tough question, but...
Yeah. Look, I've had a lot of discussions with Nath all the way through, and I know what he would say too. He says you don't change what's working, and I think, you know, we're moving towards what we want to build, and having Mitch and Jerome, albeit touch wood that they all get through. We're building something very strong amongst that spine. So look, you know, moving forward, you can see where we're going.
Did he visit camp?
He did, yeah. Nath came up and Tommy came up. You know, when I first sort of started, I used those boys, I suppose, as what you call the leaders amongst the group to give me a bit of an idea about how things are travelling. And one thing I probably got from all the group was how they're just so focused on making sure that New South Wales is strong. You know, and I heard all of the different stories about, you know, whether or not, you know, they were in or they were out, and, you know, what passion they had. And I can tell you, it is incredible being in and around this playing group, and what it means to them, and what it means to obviously for them, for the supporters as well. I've got a lot of that from the players.
Nathan one's pretty clear cut. I'll ask you about another bloke, Tom Trbojevic, right? And what we've seen with Billy is that in the last few series, he will change a winning side if he believes he can make it better or suit the occasion. Tommy, is there any thought of him of maybe getting a bench spot like Billy did with Cobbo?
Tommy would be much the same, really. I mean, you know, I've got to get through this next weekend's games. So that's the first thing. That's the one thing I have learned about, that you can't pick a team until you get to the Sunday night and you work out what's what and who's fit and who's not. But as I said, I'm pretty really confident with the group that I've got. And Tommy, he'll float in and around the camp if he's got the ability to get there. And that's something there that they've all done.
Righto, game 3, Madge, Suncorp Stadium. Now, in the past, there's been so many ambushes at Suncorp Stadium, and people say, "Well, no, it's not an ambush because, you know, they knew what was coming." Well, New South Wales sides have known what they're going into, but even then, they underestimate the intensity and the ferocity of what they have to endure and go through up there. And they oftentimes say, it doesn't matter how well you prepare, if it's your first game up there, until you've gone through it, you've got no idea. But how do you prepare it, Madge? What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, I think everyone around us, even yourself, is talking about it, so we know exactly what we're walking into. and it's been done a number of times before to be able to go up there and do it. So I guess you take all that, that's part of history, but you can also build your own history. And I guess the walks of my coaching career is that, you can always do it if you really want to. So, I'll bring the group back together again, and we'll talk about how we want to be as a team. We'll keep it fairly focused within around how we go about things.
Remember Steve Mortimer is the one the first series at New South Wales won. He made the bus go down Caxton Street and he made them look and basically let the hate feed the side to an extent. Yeah. On that, Madge, going into the moment you take the side into the city of Brisbane, there's going to be hostility. They're going to get it from all different areas. It's going to come from everywhere. When will the side move to Brisbane? Yeah,
we'll go up there on the Sunday prior to rolling into the Monday, Tuesday, and then play on the Wednesday. But that's all part of it, Matty.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Mate, that's right.
I mean, we had the hype, obviously, here in Sydney, and the players were gutted that we weren't able to give our crew, what they would have liked, and then going down into Melbourne and having 90,000, and mate, we'll go up there and everyone's telling us about the hostility. But as a group, we'll get together and plan how we want to be as a team and go up there and get stuck in.